So when it comes to problems that we have in our communication, I think we have an issue of trying to communicate with people while also not trying to hurt their feelings. So we find ways of trying to get feedback, but unfortunately we kind of get a little bit, antsy. We don't really want to say things to hurt people, but we have to learn how to be able to give feedback and give criticisms without taking it personally and also doing so in the right manner.
In my previous friendships, whenever I would get mad and I would say everything that I have to say, and I would remember all the bad qualities about the person that I'm fighting with.
One challenge that I would want more of is like dealing with people that give you that one-word response.
The text messaging and WhatsApp groups, we have so many different committees and everybody has a WhatsApp group, and so people are saying stuff and you just randomly just reply. You just reply as a instinct feeling. You just reply back, somebody's texting in an angry way, then you reply the same.
In your organization, whether it be non-profit or a business, in your organization you have policies, procedures, 10 years plan, protocols, but ultimately there are people, right? These are human beings that are interacting with each other. You could have all the procedure and protocols in the world, but at the end of the day there's two human beings interacting with each other. They're speaking and they're listening. Everything that's happening is through speaking and listening. So if this ABCD, the basic ingredient, is not right, all the other things falls apart. So Compassion Communication Workshop is a workshop that's one of a kind. We focus on teaching folks how to speak and how to listen. Most of us, we spend a lot of our waking hours speaking and listening, right? 24 hours we're speaking and we're listening, whether it be in person, whether it be in emails, text message. But think about this, we learn how to ride a bike, we learn how to swim, we learn how to use a computer, we learn how to use social media to do our activism work. But we never actually spend time learning how to speak and listen, even though we do that all the time, because we just assume that that's something you're supposed to know, like you're born with it. But this workshop, what it stands for is that no, speaking and listening is something that can be taught, that you can improve, you can learn.
You know why people talk to you, they keep on repeating themselves? You got it? You understood? Because they don't feel like you listen.
Every day, we communicate all the time. So everybody should be coming to a communication workshop to teach each other and to learn how to communicate better.
People that we grew up just talking without learning how to talk, what to say.
The fact that we communicate on a daily basis, especially as leaders, as workers and volunteers here, that we constantly communicate with one another and learn how to do so in the right way, that we learn how to be compassionate in our communication, we learn how to listen and attentively understand what people say.
So we cover all the different areas that deals with speaking and listening. How to manage anger, how to calm down.
Let anger be a barometer for you to learn what's happening to you, not use it to destroy.
The biggest takeaway from the workshop when he was talking about anger and how do I say this? He said you make yourself angry and not the people around you, and how he used the soda and the water comparison, that was what touched me the most.
And the natural tendency of human beings is to act with anger and frustration, but this workshop teaches you there's more to it, and the way we've been reacting is all the way our life we've been reacting is wrong. We've been reacting wrong to the situation we find ourselves in, so this kind of workshop makes you think, makes you react better.
We talk about how to read people's body language. We talk about how to understand people's feelings, what they're saying, how they're saying it. Talk about how to, when there's an argument, how to develop a common ground.
As a listener, you have to be able to understand the person in their context. Very important.
the more you are a better listener, the better you are a speaker, and how it's important to be in the space of someone. And it's not just about you, it's about making someone comfortable so that way you get to be heard.
When you're in a conversation, you want to be able to put yourself in their shoes and try to sense, taste, feel the world.
So we do that in the listening section. In the speaking section, we talk about how to calm someone else down. So if you're talking to someone and they're angry, how to calm them down. Or someone you're talking to, they're not really talking, how to make them talk. And then we talk about how your own body language, how that impacts how people look at you, how they listen to you.
That if you have the similar body and expression as the person you're listening to or you're speaking with, there is more of a rapport.
The greatest impact from this workshop was body language. Yeah, so it's really important to see how people react physically before you can even expect their, verbal response.
We talk about how to talk when you're upset, hurt, angry, frustrated, how to share your side.
The biggest thing for me to take out of this is address, the feeling rather than the situation, because if somebody's reacting in a way, then it's they have another feeling, and that you're not addressing the issue, you're addressing something else. So if you address the bigger, like they say, the elephant in the room, if you address the elephant in the room, then you can kind of ease the situation and the tension that's building up.
This compassion community workshop is extremely comprehensive, and number two is very practical. It's very practical. People get engaged, and we actually demonstrate everything, and we get people involved.
Find your partner and go to
Alhamdulillah,
war.
that the instructor here has really made us interactive. Get up, talk to the people around you, put the things that you're learning into practice here so that you can work on them and develop it outside.
I like how he relates all his topics and all his subjects to real life situations and gives you examples to your daily life.
Why is Rasulullah giving his own cloth to this man? It's not because for him, not because of him. He's giving it because of the sun.
I feel the instructor was very engaging, very active, he involved us a lot. We did a lot of physical movement, a lot of reflective thoughts, a lot of scenarios were given to us. He gave us a lot of metaphors, which I really like, that really engages me, and stories to relate. He didn't just make it one perspective, he gave us different viewpoints and avenues to take certain tips.
Basically, there are experts in the field of communication. And a lot of people have researched this. There are people who are expert that teach communication. So what my job was to put it all together, try to combine as much as exists. So I try to be as comprehensive as possible. I looked at various different communication experts that are out there, different training courses. I took some of them myself, and then combine all of that along with some of the tools and techniques that we developed here at Oak Tree as well, to make it as practical as possible.
Yeah, instructor, mashallah, is very good. He's very knowledgeable. He definitely has a lot of experience in the field, and his knowledge is amazing, and the way he is approaching the topic and the way he's teaching you, these are skills that we never learned in our life.
People that you like, not just people that are your friends, not just the people that you go on vacations with. It has to be general human beings. You have to have this love for people, not because they're Muslim or Kafar. You have to love human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely recommend this workshop to not even just organizations, but just people who want to learn how to communicate with their family, with their friends, learn how to not only listen, but also replicate that understanding to people and show people that you're understanding them, that you appreciate them, and that you can collaboratively work on things while also establishing that communication that we desperately need, especially as a Muslim ummah where we feel very divided and we don't know how to communicate even within our families. It's a very important skill set that we have to develop and work on.
So you go home after one day of this training and speaking and listening as a changed person.
I would definitely recommend this workshop to anyone who speaks.